You are about to watch a Cypography film, and if you like what you see, please head over to www.cypography.co.uk, where we have over 600 exclusive films waiting for you. There is something magical about the Yateley area. It's steeped in carp fishing history, and although pretty much all of those old Yateley mirrors are now gone, there is still lots of good fishing to be had in this area. It is a beautiful place to be. I love spending time here, and so does everyone that comes to Yateley. If you come here, it's infectious and you have a great time. One of these lakes that is now in its prime, you know. Years ago this one was in a shadow, a lot of the other venues, but Sandhurst Lake is now one of the most popular day ticket waters in the country, and the stock, it holds a lot of very big fish, a lot of very nice fish as well. And we've come here for the session film, and we're with Tom Dove. He's been here lately and he's been absolutely smashing them. So we've come down here, a bit of a spur of the moment thing. This wasn't planned. We've literally just jumped on his back last week, got this in place, and he got down last night. So I'm going to make my way around the bank and find him. My barrow's loaded and I am ready to rumble. Last time I come here, I had a great trip. So hopefully more of the same, and Dovey is in form. So this is set to be a good one.
Well, I've just caught up with El and he's managed to slip in a swim directly next door to me, which is pretty handy. I'm in a swim called the Pipes. It's actually one of the better swims on the lake. It commands a lot of the water this side of the lake, and I've actually seen quite a few shows out there this morning. A little bit long and left of me, but they're certainly out there. I managed to get here about 4 or 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. I slipped into this swim straight away. There was no one in here. And I managed to actually catch one about 8 o'clock yesterday evening. It was a beautiful, fully scoured mirror. I didn't actually manage to get very good pictures of it though, because my camera's broke, so I've got some dodgy ones on the mat, but hey ho. Yeah, I mean, it's looking very, very warm today, which is a bit worrying because the fish are sort of slightly in spawning mood. They've already had a go. So yeah, I'm worried that that might happen again today, which would ruin our chances of fishing, but we'll see how it goes. I've actually had some weird occurrences today on my right hand rod and my middle actually, that are both fishing out about 80 yards to the middle. The right hand rod actually picked up, and then it looked like a bite, to be honest, but as I picked it up, a fish sort of swirled 60 or 70 yards out, which means I think it was probably a trailer. So I'm going to get this rig ready, get a bait back on and get it back out onto the spot, and see what the day brings. There's always a good chance here, so see what happens.
So as much as it may look like I've just rocked up and dropped in the swim next door to me, mate, that couldn't be further from the truth, really. Firstly, I don't even actually like Tom. And secondly, I've seen fish in front of this swim, and it was the swim I fished last time I came here. So I thought I'd be able to just drop into the swim, straight on fish, which is ideal, and then use my diary. I always keep a diary of my fishing, write all my spots down and that, in the hope that if I ever return to the place, I can have a little look and get fishing easily. You know, if there's fish in front of me like there is now, being able to just check the book, look at the distance of the spots and get straight back on them, cuts the marker work and all that down, and just minimises disturbance. Unfortunately, with all that said, that wasn't to be the case, and the spots that were there last time I came here, it was almost a year ago to the week. The spots were there then, they aren't here now. But plenty of leading around, and I have managed to find some nice areas. I found 3 spots. It's very weedy here, and the rest of the lake is not very weedy at all. So with the time of year, you know, a year ago I caught fish from here when the weed was up in this area. Right now there's hardly any weed in the lake, and the fact there's weed here, the fish are going to draw towards that. Spawning time as well, you know, they're going to want to be in this area, and it appears today that there are fish here. Even while I was leading around, I saw fish showing in the bay, so they don't seem too worried by the lead. They're probably used to it on a lake like this. But for me personally, I'm back in a swim that I've got plenty of confidence in, because I caught last time I was here. But that isn't why I'm in here, you know, it's because I've seen fish, the fact that I already know roughly where to cast and that this area will do bites is just an added bonus. So I'm going to spend the day just getting ready for the evening. Don't want to do my rods too early. It's very hot now, I don't think the chance of bites that high, but as that sort of sun starts to drop, I'm going to put the rods out for the night, bait all my spots, get my rigs out there, and hopefully the night will be very much like the last time I was here and I'll catch a carp.
I actually really enjoy fishing day ticket waters, especially ones as good as these. There isn't many of them about. Probably this and St John's are the ones that I'd sort of target, especially throughout the spring when there's lots of big fish in there. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I come. You know, there's some old Yateley fish in here, 10 40-pounders, lots and lots of backup 30-pounders, including some incredible sort of upper 30 commons, and you just don't get the chance to fish for them anywhere else. And you can ring up, get your ticket, come down here and have as good chance as everyone else to catch them. And there isn't many places you can go and do that. So it's just really good fishing as well. I mean, there's no weed in here at the minute at all. It's 5-6 foot deep, so it responds really quickly to the sunlight. It fishes very quickly in the spring, and it even fishes throughout the winter. So you've always got a chance of coming down here and catching a cracker.
Spot finding is something that I deem extremely important. Everywhere I go, I like to have a lead around. It's quite, you know, it's as simple as that. The cameraman is with us, Dave. He's always on my case about it. Every time he sees me leading around, he starts whinging, saying I'm smashing it to a foam. But over the years, I've always found that if you find the right spots, you know, there's a time and a place. Sometimes you don't want to have a lead around if you're on fish. I've done it today. But the swim I'm in is very weedy, so you have to do it. And finding those sweet spots amongst the weed, rather than just giving up after 10 chucks and just finding weed everywhere. And it's easy to do that, rather than just calling it a day at that point. If you keep going, it is very, very rare that you're going to find large areas of weed that don't have a spot amongst them. And if you spend the time to actually find those areas, you know, they can be very, very good areas. And when the fish are held up in the weed, those little spots, they're gonna feed there. You know, if they're sat around the rigs in the weed and you can present effectively amongst them, you know, there's no better situation in my opinion. So on a lake that's got a lot of weed in it, it's very important. On other lakes, it's equally as important. But on lakes like this, in swims like this, like I'm in now, where there's lots of weed about, knowing that I'm fishing 100% clean, 100% accurately, and I'm on fish, I cannot want for any more than that.
That's nice. That is very nice.
A pure tiger nut approach is what I've gone in with, and it's not something you see done a hell of a lot of the time. You know, it certainly isn't a heavily used method. And on a lake like this, a very busy lake, anglers, you know, they're in and out of these gates constantly. So going anywhere with a method that doesn't get used too much is always going to do well. But going to a lake that gets fished a hell of a lot and using something different, that's much harder to actually do that. So if you are able to do it, then there's a good chance that you're going to get good results. And when I came here in the past, the tigers, they work well for me. So that's why I've come back with them. I've also caught on them from loads of other lakes, and I find that particularly in the warmer months, fish just seem to love them. So by having whole tigers and crushed tigers, I've got two different things going on. The whole tigers are out there, and they're, you know, they're whole tiger nuts, they're sitting on the spot looking pretty. Those little bits, when you chop them up, blitz them up, you know, the juices they're in, they goes all milky, the flavours, the sugars, it's all coming out. And when they go onto the spot, they're almost acting like a particle. So you've got your larger bits of nut, your whole pieces, etc. But then you've also got the much finer pieces, so that even if the carp come in and pick out all the big ones first, there'll always be little bits out there. And I find that very important. When you're trying to build a spot, the worst thing that can ever happen, realistically, is that the fish come in, they clear out all of your bait. If there's a few tiny morsels left, if they've been feeding heavily enough, they will hang around until they're all gone or they're spooked away before they've managed to eat them. So yeah, pure tiger nut approach, but whole ones and crushed ones, that just means that I've got one bait, but it's doing several different jobs. It's been quite a long time since I've spent any real time with Tom. Obviously I worked with him for 10 years, and in actual fact, when I started my job at Corder all those years ago, I was actually Tom's little helper. So we've got a good relationship. We know we're pretty much the same age, and we've always had a good laugh. He's a funny old chap. So I'm very much looking forward to this session. He's definitely going to keep me entertained, as I'm sure he will you guys as well. But yeah, it's good to see him, you know, and he's, as always, happy, smiling, bubbly, and he's already caught a carp. So up to his usual tricks.
Right, open this time. Cracked off because of the May shit. That is why you should always check your line and get all of the fluff off. Now the guy opposite thinks I'm fishing in his margin with a spud. Oh shit! Well, we're coming into the evening now, and to be fair, it's starting to look much better than it has done all day. It's been very, very hot today, and nothing much has been happening, but the atmosphere's changed. It's starting to look really good, especially in front of Elliott, and I do have to apologise actually if you can't hear me over the sound of carp crashing in Elliott's swim. Probably 90% of the stock are in front of him, so I can imagine he's probably going to catch a few tonight. I'm going to sit here, probably behind motionless rods, but we'll see what happens, eh?
Well, I don't know about you, Tom, but with the amount of fish we've seen shown in your swim
In
today, you
my
don't
swim,
catch one.
for a laugh, you've got 95% of the stock in a bay that's about a third of
Not
an
very
acre.
big.
You're going to catch tonight, guys.
I think so, yeah. They've been showing and showing and showing. The rods have not been out for long. I wanted to wait. They're out there now, sweet. But the numbers of fish here is good. So,
To be
yeah.
fair, are they going to stay here though? That's the question, isn't it? You don't know. It's a little tiny bay. They might move out at night. And if they do, I'm going to get them.
And
if
the
they
weather's
don't,
changing
you're
tomorrow,
definitely
isn't
going to
it?
get them.
Yeah, the weather's changing. If they stay here, one of these rods has to go. They're out there, absolutely sweet. Wouldn't change them for the world. Bait's all gone pucker, rigs have gone sweet. That's about all I can do. So they're here. Just got to catch a carp.
Yeah, like you said, the weather's changing tomorrow, so it feels different. I've been here a couple of times over the last month, and the weather's been completely different. The fish have been acting differently, so it
Different
does
as
feel
in cooler.
Yeah, it's just cooler. The fish have been showing out in open water, you know, when you just feel like it's on to catch them.
Yeah.
Whereas this session, it just really hasn't during the day. But it's been really hot, hasn't it? So we can't do anything about it. We moved into the bay. It's night time, and when it's hot, you catch them at night, don't you?
Yeah. The session I did in here last year,
Yeah.
I did catch throughout the night. Like you could tell once the heat dropped away, and they was eating. So it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's definitely going to happen.
Cheers.
Yeah.
40
Cheers.
pounder.
Oh, be nice. That'd be nice. You had two. So yeah, one would do.
I did have two, but there's, like we were saying earlier, it's a mental water now, isn't it? You think 10, 40 pounders, it's day ticket.
Mate, you said earlier, there's loads of big 30s in here as well.
Loads, like 36, everything that comes out, it's like, oh, 35's come out over there, 34
Yeah,
there,
£30 average,
yeah.
you said. Like, that'll do.
Yeah, it's madness,
That'll
yeah.
do.
That will do. There's spawning, see all that spawning there?
They ain't spawning. He keeps, every time one shows, he says they're spawning because they're not showing in his
Elliott was saying earlier that he doesn't really mind about fishing for spawning fish, weren't you?
It's not true.
It is true. But,
They're not spawning. I would never fish for spawning fish. They're just jumping so much it looks like they're spawning.
All on top, jumping on top of each other. 6 of them jumping on top of each other.
They're not spawning. They honestly ain't spawning.
Oh God.
Are we going to tell us what's going on or what?
No. This is who gets the last piece of chicken off the barbecue. I can feel that you feel quite solid already. Huh? I'm definitely going to lose. He's shaking. Why are you shaking so? Can you just... Right, don't give it any power yet.
Elliott shakes like a shiting dog at best.
I always shake.
I don't think I've done an arm wrestle since I was like 12.
Count it in.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Right, do it again. I actually don't feel like I've got maybe 60% of the power that you
You're on
have.
a slope, mate, or something.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. I actually feel like my arm's just going to snap.
Come on, Dave.
That's not good enough, Dave. Come on, get in.
Come on, because I might beat you this time.
It needs to be competitive to be funny. I think Rich needs to go against El.
Yeah, this is a good struggle, this one. We both had a good struggle last time.
I'm not going to lose.
Watch my beer.
I'm not going to lose because of the camera. Do you know what Dave does? He holds and he doesn't do anything. Lets you go like that, and then once you've tried, he goes.
El, I'm going to put my legs in the stingers unless you move back. I've got another foot on top. Make sure it's sharp on his face right here.
Is that all in shot, David?
Put that arm
Yeah, it's
under, not there,
perfect.
under, like that.
That's it.
Okay, count yourself in now.
I'll count you in. Can I have the beer or not?
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Look at each other in the eyes. Ready? 3,
He'd
2,
already put
1, go. Come on, mate. Be as powerful as your shorts. Shaking. No, don't let him do it to you. Don't let him do it. Dave, you're coming round a bit. You're coming round a bit. You're coming round a bit.
You ready?
He always does this. He starts giving it halfway through.
This is very close, very competitive.
Look at his arm, look. He's got the bigger muscle for sure. Get your arm on the floor, you
Don't come and don't cheat.
Look what you're going down in.
I know, it's horrendous.
Don't let off like that.
You're just waiting for me to do something.
Just chatting
go on,
each other
have a
up.
go.
Right, I'm going to go for 5 minutes and come back.
Like, what are you doing? Look at his old sidearm. Put the arm in. Look like this, forwards.
That's not actually how you do it. We'll be here all day, mate. I can't.
Are they exactly the same person? We started taking their clothes off, look.
Hang on, let me grip my hand properly. You've got hold of my thumb. That's it.
Come on.
Ready?
Come on.
Oh, man,
Oh,
you
Dave's got the
bastard.
better of
He's
it.
cheating. Look at him cheating. You slag. That is cheating. That is cheating.
Do you know an actual arm wrestle table? Do you know they have the fucking hand?
what a bite this was. My finger has just been busted by the back one, and this fish is miles out from where it feels big and it's really angry. Jesus, but yeah, quiet night. As it got dark yesterday evening, the fish just seemed to move out of this bay. They was all over it throughout the day. I didn't have rods out, and after I got the rods out, they just seemed to drift away, and I started to panic a little bit really. It was quiet throughout the night. I had a liner at 4, stayed up for a little bit around that time. Nothing, really quiet, but since first light, the fish seemed to be turning back up. I've seen 4 since first light, and I was just watching tiny pinprick bubbles right over the top of this rod. Only 2 or 3 bubbles at once, I could just make them out amongst the scum. And yeah, I was watching through the binoculars, and all of a sudden the spots just erupted. I've dropped the binoculars to 4 and the middle rods away. And this thing, whatever this is running me ragged. Angry fish. I reckon this is a good one, you know. It's either a very lively male, powerful. Definitely the best fight I've had off a carp for a long time. Dubby's lines, he's right in front of Dubby's swim. Come mate. Lost the lead, very reedy in here. And losing that lead, although they do tend to go divvy once you hook them, keeps them up out of the way, them other lines, up on the surface. Male, I bet, 23 pound. Smashed my fingers up. Hopefully it's Nigella's fish.
Yo!
Beautiful boy. Go on,
That is a...
you lovely common. Get him in. Yes, salmon swoop, lovely.
That's a nice fish, that elk.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, he's a nice fish. That's a 30 pounder as well.
Is he a 30 pounder?
You reckon?
That's a
Well,
nice fish.
How about that? He's a lovely carp. He's quite a big carp as well. Result. Looks like an old Redmere one, he does.
Yeah. Right, so as it looks like, I'm moving. I can see a lot of fish out in open water to the right-hand side in front of a swim called Peg 11, which is actually where I've been catching from. So I'm going to get around there as soon as I possibly can and get the rods out. I even know exactly how many yards I should be fishing out of there because I've been catching out there before. So it seems like the perfect move. I'm hoping they stay out there. We'll just be as quick as we possibly can. Quite a big fish, that.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. Yeah, mate.
Jesus.
Look at the head on that.
That's a mental looking fish, isn't it? Let's get this sling.
Cheers, mate. Lovely. Right. I'll lift the whole thing up.
Is he going to get this out of the way as well? Look at that fish, man.
I know. Proper, isn't he?
Yeah. He's quite big, you know. He's got bigger and bigger as it's gone on.
32 pounder?
32 pound 11.
32 pound 11.
Oh, shaky Dave, you're going to lift it here.
Don't shake. What are you on about? Right. I lift, you read.
Yep. I won't give it one of them. Oh, 46!
Ready?
Yeah, go on. 32.4.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate.
High five.
Yes!
Lovely.
Awkward respect and high five.
Lovely. A little bit of water, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
Just bust this sling out for me as well, I don't want him foaming. He's a male, he is, all day. Always dried out this, isn't it? Let's get colour in. Let's get some more to fill that up again for us as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that fish.
Man. Well happy.
Right. Gone strong boy.
Leaves. Strong boy. I ain't been called that before.
You beat me at an arm wrestle yesterday.
Twice. Ready?
Yeah, go on.
Any dorsal about, mate, do you know?
1 second. Head that way a little bit so it's a little bit flatter on.
Look at that fish.
Oh my
That is
god.
the Don.
Yeah, it looks terrible on here.
Look how he's humped.
Look at that, man. It actually looks darker in the pictures than it does in life.
Oh, spawning. What they called? Cuticles? Cubicles?
Can you lift the tail up a little bit, El?
Yeah. The good thing is I'm not getting hot.
Shit.
Oh, I'm going to spin it round, Dubby.
Yeah, mate, that is unreal, that fish.
Proper male carp. Big shoulder, big pecs. The little dot things I don't know the names of.
Barnacles.
That's it, spawning barnacles.
Are they barnacles? I feel like I got that wrong.
I think Rich just said they're called tubicles.
They're like the things you got on one of them manatees, you know, like the big, like the things that suction onto the side of it.
Limpets.
Limpets. Don't
They
think
got
they're
on
them.
rocks. Right, I'm going to lift her up, him up.
Oh, Elliott. Tail a little bit your way and a little bit, it needs to be flatter, the fish, just the head's a little bit higher than the...
Like that?
Yeah, 1 second, let me have a look, that's it. It looks so black, the fish on here. Oh, you ain't going anywhere, mate. I've got a great one at the end there.
You ain't going anywhere. I could do some more water, Dovey, ideally, mate. Oh, look at that thing. I'm a very happy carp angler. I would imagine this fish is a redmere common. They're all around this area. Don't know that if they're necessarily in this lake, but looking at this fish, I'd say it has to be one of them. A mega carp, a mega result. And hopefully, the start of a few bites. They were proper in front of me yesterday. And I wasn't fishing, but I've got rods out now. This is the first bite, and I'm confident of more. But if I don't catch any more, I do not care. Look at that carp. A proper cool common. Oh, look at you. Look at you. He's angry. He's going to be gone.
Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Mayfluff. Well, what a contrast it is around here. It looks absolutely blinding in this swim, if I'm honest. The wind's blowing over here. The weather's changed completely from yesterday. It just feels right in this swim. And I've caught fish from here before, so I know exactly where to cast. I've had fish from that exact spot before, so it feels good. The fishing itself is actually really good fun. You can catch a lot of fish here. It's not like somewhere like a normal big fish water where there's 1 or 2 40-pounders in there. You're waiting all year to possibly get 2 or 3 bites. You can come down here and fish it and see if you're going to get lots of takes, and you can do. So I'm fishing 3 rods out on the spot, getting a spot going, and by the end of the trip you end up with a good handful of fish. So yeah, fantastic place to come. Perfect. So I've got a lot of gravel out in front of this swim again, but the spot I'm fishing to seems to be sort of slightly finer gravel, maybe sand, sort of gravelly sort of sand. And because it's slightly different to all the gravel around it, that's what you want to find. So I'm looking for a firm thud, but not an absolute crackdown. That was about 5 foot to the right of where I want to go. There's actually loads of lovely carp in here. There's a fish called the Sergeant, which is about 42 pound that comes out, that come out about 2 weeks ago. So the chances of catching him are slim to none, but there's him, Niges. I'd love to catch Niges. Bit of a history fish. I've seen quite a few people holding him, and I'd like to hold him myself. That's the one. Oh, soz. That is gonna go. Yeah, feels better around here. It's putting a smile on my face.
Well, we've been calling the middle rod the banker rod since the activity we saw yesterday, and sure enough, I've had another bite and it's that middle rod again. The fish has powered straight out the bay and is now in front of me, up on the surface where that lead's popped off. Slowly coax him in. He's all over that other line. Could be another chunk. Still feel like it's time for the males. I've just got a feeling it's going to be male central, but it does feel half all right. Ball buster. Don't look a bad one actually. Get in. Oh, he's in, yes. Oh, arm ache central. Ugh. Happy with that. Happier than he is, that is for sure. Sweet. Once the fish is in the net, I like to leave it in the net. Partly so I can get the rod back out, but a large reason I do this, it isn't just this time of year and it isn't just when I'm desperate to get my rod back in position. I always leave a fish in the net for 20 to 30 minutes once I've caught one, and that is so that they can regenerate. They spend a lot of energy, particularly at this time of year. So when that happens, the last thing I want to do is play this fish into the net, have him in the net, get him straight out onto the bank where it's warm, do your pictures, etc. And then they go back funny, If you let them regenerate, let them get a bit of their energy back, they'll get all their colour back as well, and you can just tell by looking at them that they're a bit happier once they've sat in that net for a bit. So yeah, at this time of year, if you catch a fish, just give it a rest, let it calm down, and then do the bits and pieces you need to do. Oh, just lost one. Just had the other fish out to do the picks. Same rod's gone. Oh, shame. Fish had gone real left. Line was gone onto the spot, the fish had gone through the weed, and because I was up the bank doing the fish, I started on the back foot there and he's come off. Gutted. £24. Well, that will certainly do for number 2. £24, just over £24 he was. Very cool fish. Gutted, I've just lost one. I had this fella out and yeah, the rod went and I lost the fish. So pretty burnt about that, but I'm able to smile now. Because this is a wonderful mirror carp. And although I've lost a fish, it's another bite. So I need to get this one back and that rod straight back out there, because it looks like it could be another one yet. Now that I'm starting to get a few bites, the marker work and the leading around that I did at the start of the session, that's all starting to pay off, and putting that extra effort in. It's very easy to cast around in a swim like several times and just think there's just weed everywhere here, when in actual fact there are spots available, and sometimes they're very small spots. There may be very few of them, but there's always something there to be found, and this is a prime example of how those little spots amongst all the weed and that you can really get fish magnetised to them. Once you start putting food on them, there's every chance they've created them themselves anyway. If it's a massive area of weed and you've got glowing spots amongst it, there's a very good chance that it's the fish that are keeping those bits clean anyway. So they probably feed there anyway. Once you start putting food on there, they're going to come into it, and when they leave, they're surrounded by weed, so there's not so much of a reason for them to spook and disappear too far away. In an open water situation where there's no weed about, fish are feeding on your spot, you get a bite, they spook off. There's nothing to stop them travelling a long way away from the spot. So fishing in weed, it can be, it can be trouble at times, but if you put a little bit of extra effort in to actually find yourself a spot, once you get it going, it can go mad.
I've fished this swim quite a lot before, like in the last 2 or 3 weeks as well, so I know I'm in a very good area and I've got a good spot in this swim as well. And when I was here last, the fish were showing in exactly the same spot as they're showing now, so which is probably 20 or 30 yards to the left of the spot, but I know that I get bites off of that spot when the fish are showing in that area. So I'm using exactly the same tactics, and I know I'm in the right area, so I'm just sitting still and waiting for it to happen. Elliott's got one on.
Right, well, I was just prepping some rigs. I noticed a bit of a pattern, like while my rod was out of the water, I've been taking a little while to get the rod back in, so I didn't have any rigs tied, bad preparation. But where I've been tying the rig and dealing with the fish, by the time I've got that done, generally, after I've had a bite, I see a fish show on the spot. Then after that happens, I then put my rigs back out, or my rig back out, and my bait. After I bait, the next time I see a sign of fish directly on the spot has been a bite. So I think when the fish are showing on the spot, I'm missing a bite there. Every time they show, it's always when the rig's out the water, and I'm missing a bite when that's happening. So I was just sitting there getting a bundle of rigs tied, and my other rod, the left-hand rod, one I'd been sort of half wondering why it hadn't gone, has gone, and it feels like a good fish, powering around out there on the surface. But yeah, feels all right. Hey, lovely. Rummy ragged. I don't think it's as big as I thought, but I ain't worried about that. He's in the bag. Yeah, low 20. My bait and my rigs have been placed as accurately as I can. I'm putting all of my spoms as tight as I can get them, and I've been quite fortunate this trip that it's probably some of the best spomming I've ever actually done, so I'm hoping I can keep this up when I go home. They're like nailing the spot perfectly every time. The rig, I'm casting it until it's right. Once you've done that, I know for certain that my bait is in a very compact pile on the spot. It's not a big spot anyway, so once the fish are down there feeding, the tighter your bait is, the smaller your spot is, and the more central that rig is. As soon as there's carp on the spot, they're all over that rig. Once they start feeding, the chances of them picking up your hook bait are very, very high, because they haven't got to move very far to get to it. So the tighter you can be, it's always going to help you when it comes to fish feeding over the bait where the rig is. If the rig is right amongst your bait, you're going to get a bite quicker. If you've got bait strewn everywhere, off the sides of the spot, in the weed, you're just going to prolong your bite times, and then you're going to have to start to look at things like having rods, 1 or 2 rods on the spot to get quicker bites. But with 1 rod on the spot and everything positioned perfectly, you're still able to get bites nice and fast. There we go, look. Scarred up mirrors in the dappled light of Yateley. A little bit younger, these ones though. But a bite on the left-hand rod, a right result. So now we've got 2 spots capable of doing fish. Very happy about that. And yeah, looks like things can only get better. Fingers crossed anyway, but yeah, what a session it's turned into. The weather today certainly helping, I think. The rod is back out there, it's rebaited, 4 fresh spoms, rig perfectly in position. So time for Mr. Carp to go home. I'm going to finish off tying them rigs, because I think if I can get that lot done, get a load of rigs tied and get that rod back in position quicker, we could get quicker bites. That's the theory anyway.
Off we go. On dating waters like this, when there's a lot of fish there, you still get hours and hours of inactivity. And what I do at that time is just try and sit still, because a lot of people start thinking they've done something wrong. But you can't be catching all the time, it just doesn't work like that. So you've got to sit on your hands basically and wait for it to happen. Because what ends up happening is that you change something, and then when bite time does come around, you've got some weird contraption on that you've cast out, and you're not going to catch anything. So sit still, believe in what you're doing, and wait for it to happen.
Well, the curse of rig tying. Just finishing them off I was. Middle rod again this time, the old banker spot. We saw a fish beyond the area. A good sign that they were once again nearing the area. And then yeah, the rod has busted off. When I got to this fish, it was well left of the spot. And to be honest, I was panicked. I thought I ain't gonna have much chance of landing that. And then he just completely changed direction and swam all the way back to the right. My line angle sorted it out, and I've managed to get him out of the weed. So that is a result. Still having a good go. Battle is far from over yet. But the worst bit is certainly over. Almost certainly another very, very angry man. Oh. You psychopath! Shall we psychopath Sam this fish? Oh mate, have a word. Oh, off that tree. Get off, get off, get off, get off, get in, it's quite big. Get in! Yes! Oh, happy days. Oh, watch the other line. Oh, who cares? Come on. In you come, mate. Okay, so I've spent the time tying them rigs for a reason, and that is so I can get these rods back out sharpish. So I'm going to unhook this fish in the net, get a fresh hook bait on a fresh rig, get it straight back out on that spot. Ah, fluff. Look. Yeah. Weren't even that far from the spot, that. That means I need my spawn back off Tom.
So long.
Lol. Oh look, one just boshed, just to the left. Well, that spot is well and truly rocking now. Number 4, third from that area, and I am having a great time. All winter we have been looking forward to this time of year, and boy am I glad it is May. The fishing, this is real good fun. You know, I'm loving it, I really am. And this is a classic Sandhurst mirror. There's a lot of carp like this in here. Big, long, brown things. A few scales, little pearly ones on him. Yeah, classic Sandhurst carp. And I'm buzzing, really enjoying it now. And I think that nowadays, you know, there's a chance of a big fish. If you can really get into them, there's a chance of a proper big one. So all guns blazing for me now. I'm going to really put the effort in and just try and catch a big one. I'm loving it though, I really am. Let's have it. Over the years, I've become very meticulous about the drop that I get on my lead. You know, when I cast to my spot, I feel my lead down, and that dictates whether that rod stays there or it gets reeled back in and recast. If the drop isn't right, it's coming in. If I leave it out there and I'm not confident, I always end up reeling it in within 15 minutes anyway. You know, I want to cast as little as possible, but I would rather cast 10 times than 3 times. You know, if it takes 10 to get it right, that's fine. 3 to get it all right, you know, it's no good to me. I want it bang on, and in a weedy swim like the one I'm in now, you can't take any chances. You know, if the drop isn't good, you don't feel that gravel, there's a chance you're in weed. So if you're not getting it, you have to keep casting until that lead goes crack. Once it does that, you know for a fact your rig is sat pretty on that lovely gravel spot surrounded by weed.
About 3 weeks ago, I come on my sort of yearly social with my pals. There was 10 of us, had the whole lake for the weekend. Did 48 hours, Friday till Sunday. I drew peg 11. Actually, I drew peg 10 and I fished left into sort of peg 11's water because there was no one in there. And I had 6 fish that weekend, up to 34 pound, which was brilliant. You know, I think there was 20 fish out that weekend between 10 of us, so it was a majority of the fish. So I knew I had a really good spot going. And because I really enjoyed that session, I hadn't been down here for a long time, I thought to myself, I really want to come back. So I booked the following Thursday and Friday off work. I managed to get down here on the Wednesday night. Got down here on the Wednesday. It's a very cold night on the Wednesday, and I actually got in peg 11, fishing exactly the same spot. That night was very cold, unusually cold actually. We had a frost, which was, you know, strange for the beginning of May. And I didn't catch anything at all night, all morning until later on in the afternoon, about this sort of time, about 6 o'clock in the evening. We was just getting the dinner ready, and I had a bite of my middle rod. And then I had 2 fish directly after that between sort of 6 and 8 o'clock in the evening, one of which was actually a 40-pound common. Amazing fish, absolutely amazing. There's lots of big fish in here at the moment as well, so fantastic place to come and fish. That night I think I had another small, I think I had a stocky in the night, and then about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning I had another bite on my right hand rod, which had already done the 40-pound common, and this time it was a 41-pound mirror. Just absolutely incredible, you know, you never ever get the chance to catch a brace of 40s, but sometimes the planet align and it works out that way. And then following on from there, I had another night left and I was catching them throughout that morning. It stopped in the middle of the day. Again, I just sat on my hands, waited for it to happen again in the evening. And it did. 6, 7 o'clock again, I had a few bites, and then that followed on all the way through the night and then all the way through the morning, where I ended up catching 13 fish and dropped one, to 41 pounds. I had a 38-pound 12-ounce common in that as well. So just, you know, an amazing session really.
Well, guess which rod has gone? The old middle again. I was a little bit unsure about this rod. I cast it 5 or 6 times and I just couldn't get the drop that I wanted. But like the 6th one, it was you know, it's better than all the rest. It wasn't as good as what I had been getting, but I thought, I'm sure that was gravel. I was a bit worried weed had sort of pushed over the spot. And on that subject, there's a huge raft of floating weed in between me and this fish, and my line is stuck in it. Which, with all the weed that's out there anyway, is going to make this an absolute drama, but we'll do what we can. Moving into some serious water, mate, look. Oh, he's a long way out, look. Cool. Cool, I thought he was off then. Chugging. Oh, big. This really does feel like a good fish, this one. Don't know what the weed situation is, but it does. It feels big. Either that or my arms are just tired. Gotta be a chunk, surely. Right, well, I've just seen it. Oh, I don't want to say too much. It looked like a big fish to me. It was a fair way out. Doesn't appear to have weed on it. It's felt massive all the way in, and I'm pretty sure it just looked massive. We'll see, but the old bumhole is twitching now. Right, he's coming in closer. And to my right now. I just saw him, I didn't think he looked as big. You gotta love playing carp, all them things that go through your head. 1 minute he looks huge, but we'll see. He's down this side. Oh my God. Come in, you very big carp. Yes. 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 Lots of yeses. He looked, oh.
Yes. Wow.
It was big, and it was small, and now it's big again. Oh yeah. Oh yes. That is big. That's definitely bigger than the one I caught this morning. Happy days. Buzzing. Alright, well, I've spoken to Tom. And apparently this is a fish he actually caught a few weeks ago. And he's a bit unsure on the weight. I think he said it was 38.12, but he thinks it was actually bigger than that. Either way, who cares, it's massive. But it will be interesting to see. This is a big old fish. Big old fish. Isn't it? If it is, Jesus. Doesn't look 38. It looks massive. Cool. Oh. Yeah. Sweet.
Big one, because look, the white tips. I think it might be Tipex white tips.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Right, well, I don't think it's this 38-pounder dove, he said, and Simon, who's fishing next door, is just helping me with this sling. Said it could be the biggest, well, the big one, he said. Tipex. Is that right?
Yeah, because this is the white tips.
Yeah, well, he looks big to me. All right. Go on. That's it. Right, let's have them. I'll let you read. I'll lift him up. Put that just straight on your shoulder, that's it. Right, ready?
Yep.
Slowly.
40, 43. That's where you from. What was I saying? 40.
Was that 43.8?
Yeah. Which one?
Oi, oi!
Hold on.
43.8.
Yeah, 43.8 and it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's just white right on it.
Buzzing, man. Legend. Nice one. Right, let's get it sorted then. Yes! Go on. Right, let's make this sharpish then. Right, can I have that sling out, mate? Top man. If I sound like a bossy I really apologise. I just get like that when I'm trying to get them sorted. And I'll have that sling popped in under here as well, just to prove, make a guard at the back, you know, just because of that drop. Tuck that sling in just under there, that thing there. Just roll it out, stick that in under here, just so that it's got something to flap against. That's the one, pucker, here we go, ain't going nowhere. Yeah. Yes! Right. Right, we're good to go? Yeah? Right, I'm gonna make this quick. This carp is heavy, it's a big one in the time of year. I honestly don't know what to say. I am proper over the moon with this. Speechless, I really am, so just take the time to look at it as I am, just absorbing him. Oh, I don't know what to say, I ain't gonna blabber on, but yeah, what a result that is. So happy. Oh, I'll spin him round as well, just so you can quickly see the other side. Oh. Ready? All right, here we go. So I've just found out it's the biggest carp in the lake, and that is why it felt like it was a weed bed the whole time I was playing it. Felt like a monster. Look at that. Oh, yes! how's about that then? Biggest fish in the lake. I am buzzing. Corona to celebrate, first of many. But yeah, what a result. Honestly, I could not have hoped for anything more than that, obviously. But as Davy's already proven, you know, a couple of weeks ago, he was here himself in the same sort of position. He just caught a 40 pounder and he ended up catching another one and another big one, you know. So the chances, I don't know what could happen really. Like the fish have definitely had a little spawn. I spoke to someone, that fish was out a little while ago, 45 pounds. So it's dropped a little bit. Another one's been out, that's dropped as well. So they've obviously had a little spawn, but there's loads of big ones in here that haven't been caught. And you know, it's a good time for it. So the rod that is not back on the spot needs to go back out there as soon as possible, really. You know, that is doing the bites. I've had one on my other rod, but really, you know, the left and the right, they're not doing nothing. It is that middle rod that is rocking. So I'm gonna get it back out there. I'm gonna do all my rods again for the night, and that'll be that. Kick back, nothing last night, but who knows, you know, they may just be here in the days, they may leave and then come back in the morning, so we'll see. But I wanna get the rods redone, make sure they're all as sweet as they can be. I've got loads of rigs tied. I spent all that time tying the rigs to catch that carp, and yeah, it's already happened. But I've got loads of rigs, so I may as well try and use them. Despite everything I've just said, I've had a bit of a change of heart. I'm going to bait my spots, so I'm not going to cast my rigs out yet. I'm just going to bait them, and then I'm going to go around and see Dovey. Have some grub, probably an Indian. That's what I'm feeling. We'll see what the others are saying, but I ain't in a mad rush to get them out now. I've just I've calmed down a little bit. I've had a right result. Davy's over there on the other side. It's May, it's lovely and warm. We had a barbecue last night and I quite fancy going to celebrate my fish with him. So I'm gonna get my bait out, get the rods and all that ready to go, and then come back after dark and ping them back out. But yeah, I'm a few spoms off that point yet, so better crack on. Well, the old Coronas ended up getting the better of me a little bit last night, and I didn't put my rods out. I stayed round in Davy's swim till pretty late, to be fair. It was well past midnight when I walked back round to my swim, and you know, I just thought, nah, I'm not going to put the rods out tonight. I'll do it first thing in the morning. And I got up just before it got light, in the dark, and pinged the rods back out. And my left-hand rod, that went straight back onto the same spot that I caught a fish on yesterday. You know, an obvious choice. If it's done a bite, the rod's going back out there. So that went out there. But my right-hand rod, that had done nothing. The whole trip, it just sat there rotting. It hadn't even been wiped out, you know. It hadn't even been picked up by a coop. Nothing. Didn't even bleat. So yeah, that rod, I thought, right, I'm going to put that on the same spot that I've been getting all my bites from yesterday, you know. Final morning, I thought, why not? Just put all my eggs in one basket. 2 rods on that spot. They went out there perfectly, side by side. Great drop on the pair of them. And I put another 4 spoms out this morning, just in case throughout the night fish had been in and cleared out the bait that I put out yesterday evening, you know, just to top up, get some more smell or traction in the water. If fish pass by the spot, you know, they're going to smell it, they're going to taste that in the water, and hopefully they'll end up feeding on the spot. But with all that said, it's been pretty quiet this morning. You know, it's still pretty early, and the higher this sun gets in the sky, you know, the better the chances will be, I think, of fish turning up in this bay. But I haven't seen or heard a single fish since, well, pretty much since I caught that fish yesterday. I haven't seen anything in this bay. Since I've had the big one, I've not seen any fish in here. Certainly not seen anything over the spot, and it's feeling very, very lifeless, if I'm totally honest with you. And this is something I've seen quite a few times in the past, really, you know, like several examples where the biggest carp in the lake gets caught off of a spot, and it's quite often a spot that's been doing fish, you know, you're building up to the bite. I've had it myself before, you know, you're getting bites, the spot seems to be getting better and better and better, then bang, you catch the biggest one in the lake. And normally I go home, but there's been times where I haven't gone home and you stay, and it just seems to die, you know, and I'm sure the presence of that big fish, the other smaller fish, which you know, they make up the majority of the stock. Those other smaller fish, I'm sure they spook off the fact that that fish is no longer around. Could be totally wrong, but like I said, I've seen quite a few instances of this where a spot is literally rocking, the big one gets caught and then it dies a death, and that seems to be what's happened here. There is of course the chance that the fish came in throughout the night and were eating all that bait that I spawned out in the evening period, but I think it's actually got something more to do with the fact that a big fish has been caught off the spot and they now don't want to come back. But we'll see. Like I say, the warmer it gets, the better it looks. Fingers crossed for another one, but that's about that.
Well, good morning. If you can see, I'm a little bit more buoyant this morning, and that's because I've caught one. All evening it looked really good. There was fish out there, but for some reason that open water just hasn't been very productive this session. Usually you get lots and lots of bites out there, but it's just been very, very quiet. The fish, like I said, the fish have been shining to the left, and I think that's probably why the left-hand rod went. I've got a beautiful 25, 26 pound common in the sling, and we actually got special permission from Nick, the owner, to be able to keep the fish so we can show you guys on film. Yeah, so I mean, we've got a few hours left. The wind's still pushing in the same direction. It's a little bit bright today, but it's a very shallow lake out there, so you never know, there might be another chance.
Well, it's going to be me lot. I'm going to get the rods in, go round and see Mr. Thomas. Had a wonderful time, but yeah, my rods are coming in. I'm going to go round and see Dovey. See, he has a carp. Thomas.
Yo.
Well
Cheers,
done.
lad.
They're yours.
Thank you very much.
What you caught then?
Didn't wore them out, have
What you got?
you? A mid-20 common. It's
Lovely.
It's a real nice one. It's typical of Sandhurst, but it saved me. It was starting to feel like it weren't going to happen.
It's always going to happen.
Always going to happen. That water's really warm.
It is so warm.
Yeah, it's
so
warm.
so warm.
It's warmer than round here.
The wind is cold here,
Oh,
horrendously cold.
Absolutely bitter around here. It's like Baltic.
Mate, over there in your swim, sunning himself. He's having a great time. Yeah? He's been in shorts yesterday.
He's sitting in his pants around here, and I'm like with the scarf on. Get out of the way. Don't get me Crocs wet. I've got socks on.
Yeah, he's sweet.
Is it right?
Yep, good to go.
I think he's got smaller in the sack.
Got your old watering pan.
It's definitely not 24 pound.
Is that what your guesstimate was, 24?
Well, I thought mid-20s, but maybe it looked big in my blurry eyes in the dark. I was getting excited. He's been on a diet since he's been in there, and he's lost 5 pound now. It's definitely not as big as the first thought he was, but he's a nice one.
It's an angry one.
Yeah.
Right. You can lift.
So,
And I will read £21 and £21 and a 4. £21
That's
4.
all right, lovely. Nice way to end, really.
Oh mate,
It's been a bit of a struggle.
hasn't it
if
been
I'm
fun
honest.
though?
Hasn't it? Do you know what? It
Hasn't it
has
been
actually
fun?
been brilliant, mate. It's been good seeing you. I'll miss you.
I know, I miss you all the time as well.
Don't I cry?
I do.
Come on.
Let's have a look. He's definitely long. Is it another male?
Yeah,
It's that time of year, isn't it?
it's all male
They're
apart
on
from
it.
the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, everyone other than that was a male, yeah.
Look at him.
Oh man, he's lovely, Tom.
Look at
It's
that.
purple, look. That's a lovely carp. Yes.
Very, very dark. Right, don't beat me
He's
up.
pooping as well. Pooping something out.
Is it bag? Yeah.
There we go. Go on, I'm good.
Ah, look at that. Right, come on, mate.
That's a really nice carp, that is. A bit of water.
Lovely mouth as well. Right, he's going to beat
Oh,
me up.
I'm
isn't
going
he?
to try and get my lens wet, isn't he? He's going to beat you up? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Right, come on, mate. Be good to us. I put my waterproof trousers on so I don't get wet, and I've got Crocs with holes in with socks on.
All that water is flooding underneath.
Up. What are you doing eating white boilies in the middle of the night? Oh, he ain't happy. Oh, he ain't happy.
Oh, lovely. Tail up a tiny bit for me, mate. That's it. Lovely. Stay there.
Is his tail kinking?
No.
Look at that.
He looks God, he looks black.
Blick. Thank you very much, mate.
Oh, when he sticks his mouth forward, he looks so cool. Tell you, mate, I'm happy with that side. I'm
Yeah?
happy with that side, yeah. Get a couple of this side, and we'll get him back.
You are
Pristine, aren't they? With all that weed in it, you'd think by now they would start to show a bit more.
What damage?
There's a lot of real, yeah, pristine ones in there.
He's put a lot of new ones in though, which is a really good thing, isn't
Has
it? Yeah, it's just like
Look at that car, that's a
looking
very,
up to the
very
future a bit.
He ain't a new one.
No. Yeah, I'm happy with him.
Yeah, I bet you are. Beady old eyes. Oh. He looks so good. Stay there, stay there. He really does look good. Oh, when that mouth comes out. That's mate.
Yeah?
All good. Yeah, let's get him back.
Let's get him back.
I shall help you carry the mat.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very good of you, Elliott.
What friends are for.
Ready? Yeah, go on. Go on, mate.
Well, Thomas, I don't know about you, but I'll make that a rather lovely end to our session.
It has been, mate. You've done very, very well over there as well. Every time I've looked over, you've been playing one.
But as you know yourself, that can happen on these lakes.
Good. Thank you very much, mate.
Awesome.
Gosh. Cheers, bruv.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And you.
Right, shoot off.
Let's go. Hopefully you've enjoyed what you've just watched, and as I said at the start of this film, if you'd like to see more content just like this, please head over to www.cypography.co.uk and become a member.